Okay, so this actually happened to me yesterday, and I have to tell you about it. I was at the coffee shop near my apartment, you know the one, the little place on the corner, and I ran into my old university professor completely out of the blue. I hadn't seen her in maybe 4 years, and I completely froze. I had no idea what to say.
Oh, that's such an awkward situation. That feeling when you recognize someone, but your brain just goes completely blank? What did you end up saying?
I think I said something like, "Oh, wow, hey, it's been so long," which is honestly the most generic thing you could possibly say. But at least it broke the ice, you know? She smiled, and then we just sort of fell into a conversation.
I think that's more common than people realize. Most of us don't have some perfectly articulate greeting ready to go at all times. But I do think how we greet people says a lot about us. And actually, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Right, greetings. And not just the standard hello, how are you kind. We're going into the real stuff. The things native speakers actually say, the ones you won't always find in a textbook.
Exactly. Because if you've ever studied English and then tried to use it in a real conversation, you know that there's sometimes a huge gap between what you learned and what people actually say. Like, nobody really walks up to a friend and says, "Good day, how do you do?" That's not how it works.
Well, unless you're in a very old British film.
Even in England, we don't say that anymore, I promise. But okay, so let's talk about the most common everyday greetings and what makes them feel natural. Because there's a real difference between saying something correctly and saying something that sounds authentic.
So let's start simple. How are you? Three words that everyone learns on day one. But the thing is, in real life, we barely use that exact version. We're more likely to say, "How's everything going?" or "How are you doing?" or just, "How's it going?" The contractions make it sound so much more natural.
Yes, and the interesting thing is that in most cases, we're not actually expecting a long, detailed answer. If I pass a colleague in the hallway and say, "How's it going?" I'm not necessarily inviting a 10-minute conversation about their life. It's more of a salutation, a social ritual, if you like.
That's such a good point. And I think that trips up a lot of English learners. They hear, "How are you?" and they think, "Okay, I need to actually answer this." And then there's this pause where they're preparing a full response and the other person has already moved on.
Right, so in those casual, spontaneous encounters, like passing someone in the hallway or seeing your neighbor at the letterbox, the expected answer is something short. "Good, thanks. You?" Or "Not bad. How about yourself?" Those are the answers that keep the momentum of a conversation going without making things feel heavy.
And then there's the next layer. What about when you actually do want to catch up with someone? Like when you genuinely want to know how they've been?
Then you go a bit further. "Long time no see. What have you been up to?" That's a really natural phrase. "What have you been up to" is such an easy and warm way to open a real conversation. It's inviting without being too intense.
Or you could say, "I haven't seen you in ages. How are you holding up?" That phrase, "How are you holding up?" adds a layer of warmth and genuine care. You're not just asking how they are in a mundane sense, you're acknowledging that life can be hard sometimes.
It's a really empathetic phrase. You'd use it with a close friend you haven't seen in a while, or someone you know has been going through something difficult. It signals that you actually care about the answer.
Okay, so now let's talk about meeting someone for the first time, because that's a whole different situation. The greetings are a bit more formal and the energy is different. There's a bit of a performance to it, isn't there?
Absolutely. When you meet someone for the first time, there's this unspoken pressure to make a good first impression. The classics are "nice to meet you" or "it's great to meet you." And one thing I always tell people, pick up on what the other person says and mirror it a little. If they say "it's wonderful to meet you," you can respond with "likewise, the pleasure's mine." That kind of reciprocation shows that you're engaged and present.
Oh, I love "the pleasure's mine." It sounds so, I don't know, polished, like you're a character in a very good film.
Well, there's nothing wrong with sounding polished. And the great thing is that once you've said these formal greetings and broken the ice, the conversation usually becomes much relaxed quite quickly.
Oh, actually, can I jump in for a second? You just said broke the ice. I want to make sure we explain that. So, break the ice means to do or say something that helps people feel more comfortable, especially in a situation that starts off feeling a bit tense or awkward.
Exactly right. Think of literal ice. It's cold and rigid and uncomfortable. Breaking it opens things up. So when you break the ice in a conversation, you create warmth and ease. It's a really useful phrase to know.
And you'll hear it a lot. She told a joke to break the ice. Let's do a quick activity to break the ice. It works in so many contexts.
All right, so here's something I find really fascinating about greetings: the role of etiquette. Different situations demand different levels of formality. You wouldn't greet your boss the same way you'd greet your best friend from school.
Right. With your boss, you're more likely to say, "Good morning, I hope you had a good weekend." With your best friend, it's probably just, "Hey, what's up?" Or maybe just a look and a nod if you know each other well enough.
Yes, and here's where learners sometimes get confused. They've learned very formal English, which is fine, but then they use that same register with everyone, including close friends, and it ends up feeling a bit stiff, a bit robotic, like they're reading from a script.
And the opposite happens too. Someone uses very casual language in a professional setting, like saying, "Hey, what's up?" to a client, and it can come across as disrespectful, even if they didn't mean it that way at all.
So reading the room is really important. That's another great idiom, by the way. Reading the room. It means understanding the mood or atmosphere of a situation and adjusting your behavior accordingly.
Oh, wait, I want to be precise here, actually. You said reading the room means understanding the atmosphere and adjusting your behavior. I'd say it's a little more specific than that. It's specifically about understanding whether people are enjoying something or engaged or uncomfortable, and then adjusting what you're saying or doing in response. Does that feel right?
You know what? That's a fair correction. It is more specific than I made it sound. It's really about picking up on the emotional cues in the room, the body language, the reactions, and then responding to them. A good comedian, for example, is constantly reading the room. A good teacher does it too.
Exactly. And in terms of greetings, reading the room means knowing when a simple nod is enough, when to go for a full conversation, or when someone is clearly in a rush and you just say, "Hey, good to see you," and let it go.
Now, let's talk about something that I think is genuinely underestimated: the goodbye. The way we end a greeting or a conversation is just as important as how we start it.
Yes, and there's so much variety. You've got your very casual, "see ya later," "take it easy," "catch you later." All of those signal a kind of closeness, a relaxed friendship. And then on the more formal end, you've got, "it was lovely speaking with you," or "give my regards to your family."
Give my regards to your family is such a beautiful phrase. It's warm and considerate. It says I'm not just thinking about you, I'm thinking about the people you love too. You'd use it with a family friend or perhaps someone older, perhaps.
And there's also, "it was great running into you," which takes us all the way back to my professor story from the beginning. That's a really natural phrase for an unplanned encounter. It acknowledges that you didn't plan to meet, but you're glad you did.
And it opens the door without forcing anything. You're not saying, let's definitely have lunch next Tuesday. You're just saying, I enjoyed this, and it implies maybe we'll do this again, naturally, without pressure.
That's actually something I really appreciate about English greetings and farewells. There's room for ambiguity. You can be warm without committing to anything. "We should catch up sometime" is friendly and open. It doesn't lock you into anything.
Right, although if you're genuinely interested in seeing someone again, you probably want to be a bit more explicit. Don't just say, let's catch up sometime and leave it vague. Say, I'd love to grab coffee next week. Are you free Thursday? That shows you actually mean it.
Very good point. There's a difference between being politely warm and being genuinely warm, and people can usually feel the difference, even if they can't always explain it.
So, to bring this back to where we started, what would you say now? If you saw your professor again tomorrow, how would you greet her?
Honestly, I think I'd still feel a little flutter of nerves, but I'd probably say, "Professor Chen, what a lovely surprise. I haven't seen you in ages. How have you been?" And then really listen to the answer. That's the other part of a good greeting, actually being present for the response.
That's the secret ingredient, isn't it? Greetings aren't just words you say, they're the opening act of a connection. And when you ask someone how they are and you genuinely mean it, people feel that. They really do.
And I think that's what we hope you take away from today. Not just the phrases, but the feeling behind them. English greetings at their best aren't a performance, they're an acknowledgement, a way of saying, I see you. I'm glad you're here.
Beautifully put. And on that note, it has been an absolute pleasure. As always, good to be here with you, Maya.
Likewise, Jake, the pleasure's mine. And to everyone listening, thank you for spending this time with us. We'll catch you next time.
Take care, everyone.
All right, before we go, let's do a quick run through the key phrases from today. These are the ones worth remembering and actually using.
First up, the everyday check-in. Instead of the very flat, how are you? Try one of these. How's everything going? How's it going? How are you doing?
All three sound natural, relaxed, and friendly. The short answers to go with them? Good, thanks, you? Or, not bad, how about yourself? Keep it simple, keep it moving.
Next, when you genuinely want to reconnect with someone after a long time. Long time no see. What have you been up to? I haven't seen you in ages. How are you holding up? It was great running into you.
And for first meetings, the phrases that make a great impression. It's great to meet you. The pleasure's mine. Likewise.
Don't forget the goodbyes that fit different situations. Casual. See ya. Catch you later. Take it easy. Formal. It was lovely speaking with you. Give my regards to your family.
And the two idioms you definitely want in your back pocket. Break the ice to make a tense or unfamiliar situation more comfortable, and read the room to understand the mood of a situation and respond appropriately.
Keep those close. You'll use them more than you think.
Okay, this is your moment. We're going to say each phrase slowly and clearly, and we want you to say it right along with us, out loud. Don't just read it, say it. That's the only way it sticks.
Ready? Here we go. Phrase 1. How's everything going? Slow. How's everything going? Natural speed. How's everything going? Phrase 2. Long time no see. What have you been up to? Slow. Long time no see. What have you been up to? Natural speed. Long time no see. What have you been up to? Phrase 3. I haven't seen you in ages. Slow. I haven't seen you in ages. Natural speed. I haven't seen you in ages. Phrase 4. How are you holding up? Slow. How are you holding up? Natural speed. How are you holding up? Phrase 5. It was great running into you. Slow. It was great running into you. Natural speed. It was great running into you. Phrase 6. The pleasure's mine. Slow. The pleasure's mine. Natural speed. The pleasure's mine. Phrase 7. Give my regards to your family. Slow. Give my regards to your family. Natural speed. Give my regards to your family. Phrase 8. We should catch up sometime. Slow. We should catch up sometime. Natural speed. We should catch up sometime.
Excellent. Say each one a few more times if it felt unfamiliar. The goal isn't to memorize a list, it's to make these phrases feel so natural that they come out on their own without thinking.
The best way to practice? Use them this week. Tomorrow morning, try how's everything going instead of how are you with someone. See how it feels. Notice how they respond.
We got some great questions this week from our listeners, and we want to answer a couple before we sign off.
The first one comes from a listener named Rena, who writes, I feel nervous when I meet a native speaker for the first time because I'm afraid of saying something wrong. Any advice?
Rena, first of all, that nervousness is completely normal. Even native speakers feel it. The thing is, most people are far more focused on themselves in a conversation than on judging you. They're thinking about what they're going to say next, not cataloging your grammar mistakes.
And here's something important. A warm tone and genuine eye contact go much further than perfect sentence structure. If you smile, if you're present, if you actually listen, people feel that. You don't have to be flawless, you just have to be real. Start with something simple, like "it's great to meet you," and let the conversation take you from there. The more you do it, the less the nerves control you.
And honestly, Rena, making a small mistake and recovering gracefully is itself impressive. It shows confidence. Nobody expects perfection. They expect kindness.
The second question is from a listener named Daniel. Is it rude to say "hey" instead of "hello" to someone I just met?
Great question, Daniel. The short answer is it depends entirely on the situation. In a casual setting, a party, a co-working space, a friendly introduction through a mutual friend, hey is completely fine. It's relaxed and approachable.
But in a more formal context, a job interview, a business meeting, being introduced to someone's parents for the first time, you'd want to reach for "hello" or "hi" at the very least, and pair it with something like "it's wonderful to meet you." "Hey" in those moments can read as a little too casual, even if you didn't mean any disrespect.
The safest strategy? Match the other person's energy. If they come in warm and casual, you can follow their lead. If they're more reserved and formal, step up to meet them there. That's what reading the room is all about.
Exactly. And Daniel, the fact that you're asking the question means you're already thinking about it the right way. That kind of awareness is what makes someone genuinely good at communicating in any language.
Well said. All right, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for listening, for practicing with us, and for sending in your questions. This community keeps getting better, and that's because of you.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, go out there, say hello to someone, and mean it.
Take care, everyone.